you look at a pencil and it's made out of 17 countries. So the challenge in the 19th century of the Europeans was, with all of this division of labor spread out throughout Europe and the world, now who brings it together? And the reply is the locomotive is brought together and the pencil is brought together by entrepreneurs. That's what entrepreneurs do. And from developing countries, it's a very clear phenomenon because we are always told that we have the natural resources. And we do have a lot of natural resources, and our potential is immense. For every 400 holes drilled in the United States for minerals, petroleum, or whatever, in Latin America, there's 1 hole drilled. And probably for every 400, 500 holes drilled in Europe, there's 1 hole drilled in Africa. So our potential is immense. But nevertheless, we're so poor. So the question is, why? And the reply to that is because the people who know how to bring things together are the people who have benefited from that culture that comes from Western Europe and comes from North America, which is the culture of bringing things together. And so the typical examples are, of course, Switzerland, that has no cocoa, but together with Belgium makes the best chocolates in the world. It has no sugar, and they still make the best chocolates in the world. While we make the sugar, we make the cocoa, and we can't sell you our chocolates.
Okay.
And
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and we've got all your metals, and we've got everything that makes a watch. But it's these Swiss who go around putting our metals together and making the watches. So it's entrepreneurs.
So when do we have the next Peruvian Swiss giant, the chocolate giant here?
We should do that, but you see, the thing at the end is not who has the natural resources, but who brings them together, and those are the entrepreneurs.
Okay.
That's why entrepreneurship is important.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think Günther has a question, because this is exactly the question, that who brings it together, and can everybody do that? Good.
Well, of course everybody could do that. First of all, you Germans can certainly do that. I mean, you're the guys who brought Volkswagen together. You're the guys who brought all the big entrepreneurs, all the big entrepreneurial things. I have a heater in every time my back aches, and it's made in Germany. I have an automobile outside, a Volkswagen, and it's Germany. I mean, of course you're the people who can bring it together, but you may have lost some of the culture, or maybe you may have lost some of the admiration from entrepreneurs. Because you see, one of the problems that I think you're directing yourself at, Sven, is this, that the human mind, the entrepreneurs, the human mind, which is so creative, has 2 sides to it. It can be very creative and positive, but it can also use its intelligence to make mistakes, to do nasty things, to take advantage of the neighbors and to take advantage of the friends. And therefore, what has maybe happened over the years, I'm guessing, in Western Europe, is as we have seen some of the negative things that very imaginative people can do, we have focused too much on controlling the negative side of entrepreneurship and demeaning it and not knowing how to control it, especially with the last recession. And we have forgotten about the good side. So it's like everything that's human, like a knife. You can use it to do good things, and you can use it to do bad things.
I think that that's absolutely in line with what we discussed today, that on the one hand, I remember that entrepreneurs are the ones that give jobs, whereas we maybe in Western Europe have more or less only concentrated on taking jobs. So Günther, you have now the question here in front of you, I think.
Hernando, our theme is how to empower everybody for entrepreneurship. And you can take the view from outside on the German culture, but you have been in Germany many times, you were invited many times. What is lacking in Germany right now? What is lacking to push for more entrepreneurship? I think, or we both agree, or we all agree that everybody has the qualifications, the possibilities for entrepreneurship, but something is missing. From outside, seen from outside into Germany, what do you think is missing?
Well, the first thing I think that is missing, and which is what I suspect that you're doing, is reminding people of how important it is that when you lose it, it could be fatal, or at least it could retard you over many years. Is a respect for what entrepreneurship is. I think at one moment we were talking about when my last book was published in Germany, The Mystery of Capital. I remember that the title was a very appropriate one, of course, in the United States, in North America, in Asia, in Latin America. It's a book that sold about now, maybe it's been translated into over 30 languages, sold over 2 million copies. But I do remember one very particular thing about Germany, which was that every time I went to have a book presentation, just because I had the word capital there and it was associated with the notion that entrepreneurs are important, of course, my main readership, at least the one I was pointing to, was Third World. I remember having felt clear hostility. In other words, I was out there in the far right coming in to talk about things that were wicked or that were not appropriate. So my feeling was that for one reason or other, at least the intellectual class that I was faced with, ab initio, had a certain hostility towards it. So I have a feeling, as you say, everybody can do entrepreneurship. Your challenge may be the one of recuperating a culture in favor of that entrepreneurship, understanding that that the world is made out of many little